SuperEntendentRental.com.
Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS.
It is Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS. Special programming today. We have a very special guest in studio. I am Kyle Jellings. I am not the special guest, but we do have a few special guests, I'll say. We have Melissa Lampert. She is the features director here at KHTS. And we also have Paul Cordeiro. He's the Newhall School District superintendent. And this is a special interview that we're doing here, and we appreciate you being here. Taking the time. I know you're a busy man, right?
Thank you.
You have to say yes. I think you have to say yes, to that question.
Thank you, but it is a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So you just we're in Newhall. You're basically our neighbor, right?
We're neighbors for sure.
So you left for a while. You were the assistant superintendent, and then you came back. You went over to the Carpinteria School District, right? You were the superintendent there for about 10 years, right?
Correct.
10 years. See, I've done some research. I know stuff. And then, but you are back here, and how you feeling now that you're back here in with the Newhall School District?
Well, I came back for a reason, and that's because it's an excellent school district and an excellent community.
Fantastic. And Melissa, Melissa Lampert is here. She is the features director, and I know you have quite a few questions for the superintendent.
I do, yeah. So I know that there's been quite a few changes with the Newhall School District recently, and I just wanted to know first, how is the district doing under the state's new standards, new tests, and a new school accountability system?
Well, this is a historic era of change in California education. Not very noted by the community at large, but when you put things like new standards together and new tests together and a new way of rating school performance, so-called school accountability system, it's a lot of change short order. And I compliment the work of our board and our management team and our teachers for kind of getting ahead of all this. And it's been a sprint. It's been hard. It's been hard in terms of the level of change we've marshaled, particularly on the teachers. But to their credit, and it's been this way for a long time, these teachers respond. They're receptive to professional development. They're very participant in planning it and leading it. And they're doing a fine job. So it's uncomfortable to have to do this so quickly. But I would say that we've turned the corner in terms of transitioning to new standards. Especially with these new tests. We finished our third year of state tests last year. Newhall has been at the top of all the districts in the valley in every tested grade in every subject for each of the years that the test has been administered, well above state and county averages. That isn't happening by luck or prayer. It's happening by hard work and strategic thinking.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so what are the priorities for the Newhall School District for the 2017-2018 school year?
So there's kind of an overarching theme, which is continuous improvement. So what we've put in place in terms of mathematics and reading language arts, we're continuing to support. We have had math support for going on 3 years through teachers on special assignment and some consultant work that we've had, because we understand that it isn't just having new reading materials or new math materials. It's about having good coaching and good support. Those things continue as priorities. We are particularly attuned to the needs of our English learners who aspire to become proficient readers and writers in a short period of time. If you can imagine entering, say, school in Russia as a kindergarten, speaking only English, and being expected to read and write to do that in about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So that's a big area of focus, is to accelerate our English learners' progress toward full English proficiency. That's important for a lot of reasons. As an elementary district, it's foundational. It's important for their success in the secondary years and beyond. Science is also one that I think we've done a really good job of getting behind, ahead of the curve, as it were. We've had a teacher on special assignment for science over the last, now going on 3 years, who is kind of putting the foundations in place under what are called the next generation science standards. Sounds very important to call them next generation. Mm-hmm. It's really a change in the way we teach science to kids, really focused on inquiry and problem solving and design and engineering. But that's a lot of transition too. But I will say that, with diligence, Our kids are going to make great progress under those standards. The state will administer its first official test in fifth grade starting in the 1920 school year. This year it will be a pilot test. So that's a big priority as well, science. And then lastly, the board continues its pursuit of the arts. I think the district has been a leader certainly in music instruction for many years now. It's upped its game with credentialed art teachers. If you saw the level of art our kids do, it's well beyond what you might have experienced as a elementary student.
Oh, yeah.
Our kids do art related to their understanding of famous artists and different types of art genres and media and their connection to all the different subject areas. And then beyond that is the Newhall Family Theater for the Performing Arts, which is the Newhall Auditorium for 40 years had been fallow for many, many years. It was built in 1940 and used as a warehouse for the years I was here the first go-around, and before that it wasn't being used. Now, thanks to a $5 million renovation funded by the voters, which is quite a testament to the voter support of the school district.
And that's Measure E, right?
It's Measure E,
Okay.
and it is a performance venue. It's not an auditorium in the school sense. It's truly a performance venue with state-of-the-art technology and lighting and sound, and it seats about 535 people. It's going to be a real asset to this community.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so the building is completed. The status of that, is it open yet, or?
The building is completed. We're still working through a few little corrections to things. It was a complicated project. You know, when you open up a building that old that's made out of pure concrete and steel, not a single piece of wood in that structure.
Oh, wow.
Not a single piece of wood.
Sounds like a challenge.
It was an adventure, I'll tell you. I learned that concrete gets harder with every year. It never starts hardening. So just imagine how hard it is to dig in and drill in and saw into some of this stuff.
Yeah, over so many years.
So we turned the
wow.
corner on that, and we hired a manager. His name is Thomas Lund. He's very experienced. He's charged with getting all the mechanics of renting the theater out, creating a foundation, use agreements, engaging our partners in the city and Cal Arts in elaborating how this is going to be done relative to community use and school use. The school use will certainly be for Newhall Elementary students, but also for students at our 9 other elementary schools. So there's a lot to get through beyond just the construction.
Right.
But we should be proud that we have this in place, and I'm confident that with all the teamwork going on, that it's going to be an exciting performance venue, particularly for young performers.
Okay, yeah, it sounds amazing. Definitely when I was in school, we did not have a performing arts center.
You had a multi-purpose room.
Yes, the NPR
where you
auditorium.
perform when the lunch benches were pushed up on that really hot linoleum floor.
Yeah, very different nowadays.
Very different now.
Yeah. And so is there any other building projects under Measure E that the district is working on right now?
Well, the district is really on the tail end. It's completed the project. So under Measure E, there were portable classrooms that were taken out at Valencia Valley, taken out at Meadows, taken out at Peachland, taken out at Newhall Elementary School, replaced with modular structures which are tantamount to regular stick-built structures. So we vastly improved the educational environment for these kids. Peachland underwent a major renovation. That's our oldest school in the district. We took all the portables out. We redid the playground. We painted. We redid the existing classrooms. It's really beautiful. Old Orchard as well, I should mention, lost its portable classrooms, with put 2 new permanent buildings in there, and itself had a campus-wide renovation. So that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot going on.
I would say that when I came in 2015, it was probably about 60 to 65% complete.
Okay, wow.
But it's done now.
Done now. Awesome. It definitely sounds like there's so much just new improvements and changes and things for the kids, for their futures. That's awesome. Definitely.
Absolutely. And I think, we want to tell the voters, you made a good investment and we met our promise.
Mm-hmm. Definitely sounds like it. Yeah. And so the district has started marketing itself just a few years ago. Is that a marketing effort still continuing on today?
Yeah. Marketing effort continues. It is a professionally guided marketing effort. I'm personally involved in it, and the board as well. A reality that is in education right now is that there is choice in public school education. You see the proliferation of charter schools growing about 11 to 12% a year in California. Parents feel they have some choices that they can make, and so we have a story to tell. And what we're telling, our story is excellence. We invite people to come to our website and look at our comparative test scores. They're phenomenal, particularly in math where we've invested so much time. So we produce a promotional video. It'll be done, the latest one, the third in 3 years, will be done this week.
Oh, okay.
It will be in all of the local theaters over winter break for 4 weeks here in the Santa Clarita and in the Antelope Valleys. It'll reside on our website.
Okay.
There's lots of web-based ads. There's will be a mailer for a January 18th open house, which we will hold at Oak Hills. We've done that now every year. So it's all tastefully done. It's respectfully done. But we think people who we consider consumers should know what we do and should have the ability to ask any questions they want about how we do it. But, if you're thinking about spending, $25,000 or $30,000 in a private school education, which is fine. I always tell people, whatever you're happy with your son or daughter is fine. I respect that. But do take a look at what we do as a public school that charges no money for an amazing product.
And it's about looking at your options and then making the decision. I think people might be surprised that, they do have a choice with different public schools and that they can choose a public school versus a charter school or a private school and be just as happy, if not happier.
Not only that, they don't even have to live within our district boundaries.
Wow, okay.
So, it doesn't matter where you live. If you want to look at an option of coming to the Newhall School District, check out the data, come to our open house, visit our schools, and make your own decision.
Okay, sounds good, definitely. And then I think my last question for you is what ideas do you have about how schools and other family or youth-serving entities can enhance school success?
Yeah, so that's kind of a macro question. And I will say this, I think communities as a whole need to have their antenna up on what's going on with their youth. It's not a specific issue to Newhall or Saugus or Canyon Country. It's a Santa Clarita and greater Santa Clarita Valley, I think, issue. And what that means in practice, and we worked on this hard when I was in Carpinteria, was to understand, first of all, what is the state of our youth in our community? What percentage of our kids in the Santa Clarita community, for example, are entering kindergarten having gone to preschool? What is the overall condition of children's health in terms of obesity and overall wellness? Do they have access to good health care? What about youth-serving organizations? Do we have good access to child care after school? Do we have good access to youth-serving organizations? And actually, this community, not unlike where I was in the Santa Barbara County, has a lot of those assets. But what we learned somehow is when we look at these more closely, we realize that we are what we started to refer to as resource-rich and system-poor. And what that means is we have a lot of these different assets, but what we want to do is bring them together and have them work together in concert and really start to understand how our kids are doing overall, entering school and beyond. So, I think at a certain point it would behoove this community, which should be very proud of what it does already, but to look at what its population is and how that population is being served. I can tell you this, kids who are not served are the ones who end up not achieving, getting in trouble, dropping out, using drugs. Those are all symptoms of some needs that aren't being met. And my philosophy is we're not here to take parents' place. We're here to empower and enable parents to do what they need to do for their kids. I will add one more thing in that regard, and that has to do with housing. I'm particularly worried about LA County's housing crisis and its effect on kids because it's pushing families into the street. It's pushing them into marginal housing. I can tell you that when kids are in stressed housing situations, for example, sharing an apartment with 3 other families, that has a real negative effect on their achievement.
Yeah.
And we have to start paying attention to that. We have to, an active equity, in my opinion, is providing every family with a decent home, a decent place to live. Mm-hmm. So these are huge issues, and I don't want to sound like I'm grandstanding. I'm just telling you from the perspective of what it needs for kids, that it would never hurt for a community like Santa Clarita to get ahead of that issue and to coalesce and pull entities together and start to come up with what I would call a report card on their kids that includes everything from living conditions to preschool to health and all those other things.
Okay. Wow. Well, you've given us definitely a lot to think about, not only just about the Newhall School District, but just about, how to approach children's education in general. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? Well, we have a few minutes here left.
I would just say that that the world of family needs and the world of school needs don't function in different orbits. They intersect, and we want them to intersect in a positive way. I'll just say also that another environment is, and we worked on this last year, was to assure families that school districts are not complicit in immigration enforcement, that we don't get involved in that, because we were really concerned that some of our parents would be pulling back from their involvement in school. That's not good. Parents are our partners, and we want to send a very positive message to all parents that they are our partners, they're welcome in our schools, and they have nothing to worry about in that regard.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Cordero. And Kyle, do you have anything you want to wrap up?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for coming by. I appreciate you taking time. Again, you spoke about a lot of stuff, all of which you have to deal with. So it's you're a busy man. So appreciate you coming by, and good luck to you in the coming days. And I'm excited for the Performing Arts Center. I think that's an awesome little thing we got going on.
Whenever you want to visit, just give me a ring. I'll take you over there personally.
Awesome. All right. He's Paul Cordeiro. He's the Newhall School District Superintendent right here in your hometown station, KHTS.
KHTS, your hometown station.